Be me, 26-year-old feminist, dating boyfriend for a year and a half now. He's graphic designer. I'm project manager at marketing agency. Both decent jobs, relationship is pretty good. We get along well and have normal couple dynamic. Always been interested in feminist theory and deconstructing relationship power structures. Start reading articles about how compromise in relationships is actually a patriarchal concept. Learn that compromise really means women giving up what they want for men. Studies show women compromise way more than men in heterosexual relationships, always. Realize that asking women to compromise is just another way patriarchy controls us. Tell myself that truly equal relationship wouldn't require compromise from women at all. Decide I need to have conversation with boyfriend about this problematic dynamic. He suggests we watch action movie this weekend that he's been wanting to see. Tell him I'd rather watch the romantic comedy I've been looking forward to instead. He says, okay, we can compromise and watch one now and one next weekend. Immediately launch into explanation about how compromise is patriarchal concept actually. Tell him that compromise in relationships always means women giving up their preferences. Explain that men expect women to meet them halfway, but they never actually do. Say that I shouldn't have to compromise on what I want to accommodate him. He looks confused and says, but compromise is how relationships work, isn't it? Tell him no. That's just what patriarchy taught him to expect from women. Say that in equal relationship, my preferences should be just as valid as his. He's quiet, then says, okay, we can watch your movie then if you feel that strongly. Feel vindicated that I stood up against patriarchal compromise expectations. Week later, we're deciding where to eat dinner. Both have different preferences. I want sushi. He wants Italian food. Both restaurants are equal distance away. He suggests we compromise and do sushi tonight, Italian next time we go out. Tell him again that I'm not doing the compromise thing. It's rooted in patriarchy. Remind him that women are always expected to compromise, and I'm rejecting that. Say that my preference for sushi is just as valid and shouldn't be negotiated. He stares at me for a moment, then says, fine, we'll do sushi. Then, whatever. We go to sushi place and I feel satisfied that I maintain my boundaries. Notice he seems less enthusiastic about dinner, but tell myself that's his problem. If he wanted Italian, he should have made better argument for it, not expected compromise. Planning weekend trip together, and we have different ideas about where to go. I want to go to Beach Town. He wants to go hiking in mountains. He suggests we could compromise and do beach this time, mountains next trip. Immediately remind him that I already explained compromise is patriarchal expectation. Tell him I'm not compromising on my vacation preferences to accommodate him. Say that his preference isn't more important than mine, so we should do what I want. He's quiet for a long moment, then says, okay, fine, we'll go to beach then. Book beach trip and feel proud that I'm not falling into compromise trap. Notice he doesn't seem excited about trip, but tell myself he'll enjoy it anyway. If he really wanted mountains, he should have planned his own trip separately. Month passes and notice boyfriend has stopped suggesting compromise on anything. Whenever we have different preferences, he just agrees to do what I want. At first, I think this is great. He's finally understanding equal partnership. But start to notice he seems less engaged and enthusiastic about our plans. Ask him what's wrong, and he says nothing. Everything is how you want it. Tell him that sounds passive-aggressive, and he says, no, I'm just agreeing with you. Say that I want him to be excited about things we do together. He says, hard to be excited when I never get to do what I want anymore. Tell him that's not true. We do things he wants too sometimes. He asked me to name one thing we've done that was his preference lately. Realize I can't actually think of anything we've done that was his choice. Every movie, restaurant, activity, and trip has been what I wanted to pick. But defend myself, saying that's because my preferences were more valid each time. He says, or because you won't compromise, and I stopped trying to suggest things. Tell him he's being dramatic, and he's allowed to suggest whatever he wants. He says, "What's the point when you'll just say compromise is patriarchal and reject it?" Tells me he's learned that suggesting anything just starts argument about patriarchy. Says it's easier to just agree with whatever I want and keep peace. Realize I've trained him to not express preferences, but can't admit that's a problem. His friend's birthday party comes up and he says, "We're going this Saturday." Tell him I already made plans with my friends that night, so I can't go. He says, "Okay, then cancel your plans because this is important to me." Feels surprised because he never puts his foot down about anything anymore. Tell him I shouldn't have to cancel my plans to accommodate his schedule. He says, "Well, I'm not canceling my friend's birthday, so figure it out." Remind him that relationships require flexibility and understanding of schedules. He says, "Thought you said compromise was patriarchal, so I'm not compromising on this." Tells me I made it clear we don't compromise, so I need to handle my own plans. Feel frustrated because this isn't what I meant when I said no compromise. Realize he's using my own logic against me, and I have no rebuttal for it. Tell him that's different because his friend's birthday is one specific night. Say that I can't control when my friends are available to meet up. He says, "And I can't control when my friend's birthday is, so you figure it out." Asks me if my plans are more important than his friend's birthday celebration. Tell him they're equally important, which is exactly my point about compromise. He says, "Exactly so. I'm doing my thing and you do yours. No compromise needed." Walks away, leaving me standing there frustrated that he won't work with me. End up canceling my plans to go to his friend's party, feeling resentful. He doesn't thank me or acknowledge that I changed my plans for him. Tells me I made my own choice to come, so there's nothing to thank me for. Start noticing pattern where he never budges on anything anymore at all. Used to be flexible and accommodating. Now he's completely rigid about everything. Bring it up and tell him he's being unreasonable and stubborn lately. He says, "I'm just following your philosophy about not compromising, remember?" Reminds me that I said compromise is patriarchal and women shouldn't have to do it. Says, "I never said anything about men having to compromise, so he's not doing it." Tell him that's not what I meant. He's twisting my words about this. He says, "What did you mean then? Because it seems pretty clear to me." Asks if I meant only he has to compromise, while I never do. Realize that's actually kind of what I meant, but can't say that out loud. Planning trip to visit my parents and tell him the dates we're going. He says he can't do those dates because he has important work deadline then. Tell him he needs to figure it out because I already told my parents. He says, "No, I'm not compromising my work deadline for your family visit." Tell him this is important to me and he should make it work. He reminds me again that I said compromise is a patriarchal construct, remember? Says I need to either go without him or pick different dates that work. Feel angry because he's being completely inflexible about meeting my family. Tell him relationships require some sacrifice and accommodation for each other. He says, "Thought you said that was patriarchal expectation placed on women." Asks me if rules are different when it's me wanting him to sacrifice. 2 months of this dynamic in our relationship has become completely adversarial. Every disagreement turns into battle, where neither of us will budge at all. Used to work together to find solutions. Now we just argue about who's right. He stopped being flexible about anything, citing my anti-compromise stance constantly. I'm frustrated because I still expect him to be flexible for important things. Realize we're in stalemate, where both of us refuse to give on anything. Bring it up and say, "This isn't working. We need to find middle ground." He says, "Middle ground is literally compromise, which you said is patriarchal." Tells me I can't have it both ways. Either we compromise or we don't. Ask me to clarify what my actual position is, because he's confused now. Tell him that compromise can be okay when it's truly equal and fair. He says, "So when you compromise, it's patriarchal, but when I compromise, it's equal." Points out that I never actually compromise. I just expect him to do it. Says in all our disagreements, I've gotten my way every single time. Ask me how that's equal partnership if I never give up anything I want. Sit there realizing he's right, but feel defensive about admitting it. Tell him that's because my preferences happen to be more reasonable than his. He laughs bitterly and says, "Yeah, I'm sure that's it, not because you're selfish." Tells me I've twisted feminism into excuse to never consider anyone but myself. Says I use patriarchy as a weapon to make every conflict about oppression, not preference. 3 months in, and he stops engaging in any disagreements at all now. Whenever we have different wants, he just says, "Fine, you do your thing." Doesn't try to convince me or suggest alternatives, just completely disengages. At first, I think I won, but realize this is actually worse than arguing. He stopped caring enough about us to even try to find solutions together. Ask him why he's so checked out and distant from me lately. He says, "Because trying to work with you is exhausting and pointless." Tells me every time he wants something different, you call it patriarchy. Says he can't express preferences without being accused of oppressing you somehow. So he stopped having preferences about anything to do with our relationship. His best friend invites us on weekend trip with group of couples. Tell him I don't really want to go because I don't know his friends well. He says, "Okay, I'm going anyway. You can stay home if you want." Feel surprised because usually he'd try to convince me or compromise on timing. Tell him it would be nice if we went together as a couple. He says it would be nice if you wanted to come, but you don't, so whatever. Asks why he should miss out on a trip just because I don't want to go. Tell him, because that's what partners do. They support each other at things. He says, support sounds a lot like compromise, which you're against, remember? Books his spot on trip without me and tells me, have fun that weekend. Feel abandoned, but realize I can't argue because I rejected compromise concept. Week before his trip, tell him I changed my mind and want to come. He says, too bad. The house rental is already full, and I said I didn't want to come. Tell him he should have waited to make sure I was really not interested. He says, I did wait. You gave me your answer, and I took it at face value. Tell him couples should check in multiple times on big decisions like this. He says that sounds like trying to compromise, which again you said is patriarchal. Tells me I made a decision not to go, and now I have to live with it. Says he's not responsible for managing my indecisiveness about everything always. Feel frustrated, but realize he's treating me exactly how I said we should operate. No compromise, no negotiation, just each person doing exactly what they want. Start seeing social media posts from his trip with all his friends having fun. He's smiling and laughing in ways I haven't seen him do around me in months. Feel jealous and left out watching him enjoy time without me there. Realize he didn't miss me at all and had better time without me probably. He comes back and I ask if he missed me and he shrugs, says it was a fun trip. Doesn't elaborate or share stories with me, just says it was good time. Ask him if he even cares that I wasn't there with him. He says, you didn't want to be there, so why would I care about that? Tells me he's done trying to convince me to do things I don't want to do. Says I made it clear I won't compromise, so he stopped expecting me to come along. Realize our relationship has completely fractured over this compromise issue. We're living separate lives that occasionally intersect, but barely overlap anymore. He does his things, I do mine, and neither of us tries to include the other. Tell myself, this is what independent, equal partnership looks like really. But feel lonely and disconnected from person I'm supposed to be in relationship with. Watch other couples compromise and negotiate and find middle ground together. They seem happy and connected, while we're just two people existing separately. Bring it up and say, maybe we should try to find more balance. He says balance sounds like compromise, and we've established we don't do that. Asks me to stop trying to change the rules I created for this relationship. 4 months, and I'm miserable in a relationship that operates on my own principles. Realize that no compromise means no teamwork, no collaboration, no partnership really. We're just two individuals who happen to be dating, but don't function as a couple. He makes all his decisions without consulting me because I won't compromise anyway. I make all my decisions alone too, but feel resentful he doesn't try to be involved. Understand now that compromise isn't patriarchal. It's foundation of partnership working. Without compromise, there's no relationship, just two people doing separate things nearby. Try to tell him I was wrong about compromise being a patriarchal concept. He says, "Too late. I already adapted to your system and it works for me now." Tells me he likes not having to negotiate or consider someone else's wants anymore. His company offers him job transfer to different city. Great opportunity for him. He tells me he's taking it and moving in 2 months. Didn't ask my input. Feel shocked that he'd make decision this big without even discussing with me. Tell him this affects both of us and we should make decision together. He says, "No, it affects me and my career. You said we don't compromise, remember?" Reminds me that I established we each make our own choices without negotiating. Says he's making a choice that's best for him, regardless of what I want. Tell him that's a huge relationship decision that requires both people's agreement. He says, "Why would I need your agreement when you've never needed mine?" Points out that I've made countless decisions without his input, because no compromise. Asks me why rules should be different when it's major decision affecting me. Tell him this is different because him moving would end our relationship likely. He says, "Sounds like that's a consequence of your anti-compromise philosophy then." Tells me I created relationship structure where we don't consider each other's needs. Says I made it clear my needs don't require his agreement or accommodation, so his needs don't require mine either. It goes both ways, apparently. Feel panic rising because I'm about to lose him over ideology I pushed? Tell him I was wrong. We should compromise. I didn't mean to create this. He says, "It's too late. I've already accepted the mindset you've forced on me." Tells me he actually likes not having to compromise or consider partners' wants. Says it's liberating to just do exactly what he wants without negotiating. Ask him if he even wants to continue relationship with me or if he's done. He's quiet for a long time, then says, "Honestly, I don't know anymore." Tells me relationship feels like business arrangement, not actual partnership at all. Says we don't function as team, we just exist near each other sometimes. Tells me he doesn't feel connected to me or invested in our future together. Says maybe moving is good opportunity for a clean break from this dysfunction. Reminds me that I created this dynamic by refusing to compromise on anything. Tells me he adapted to my rules, but somewhere along the way stopped caring. Admits he used to want to work through disagreements, but I killed that desire. Now he just doesn't care enough to try. Any more easier to walk away instead. Spend next few weeks trying to convince him to stay and work on us. Tell him I'll compromise now. I understand it's necessary for relationships. He says he doesn't believe me because I already showed him who I am. Tells me I'll compromise until I get what I want, then go back to old ways. Says he's not interested in being with someone who only compromises strategically. Asks me if I actually believe compromise is important, or just saying it now. Realize I don't have good answer because I did believe it was patriarchal before. Tells me that's the problem. I have ideology, not actual relationship values. Says he needs partner who naturally wants to work together, not someone who sees compromise as losing. Admits he's already mentally moved on and started planning life without me included. He moves away 2 months later and we break up officially before he leaves. Tells me relationship was unsustainable once I made compromise into political issue. Says he tried to adapt to my rules, but it killed everything good between us. Admits he became a person he doesn't like, someone selfish and inflexible, just like me. Says maybe with time apart, we'll both learn that relationships require give and take. Leaves me standing in an empty apartment, realizing I destroyed us with my ideology. Sit there, understanding that compromise isn't patriarchal. It's partnership, fundamentally. Without willingness to meet halfway, there's no relationship, just two people fighting. Told myself I was standing up against oppression, but really, I was just being selfish. Used feminism as excuse to never consider anyone's needs but my own. 6 months later, see on social media he's dating someone new in his city. They're doing all the couple things we used to do before I ruined it. See posts about them compromising on what movie to watch, where to eat, what to do. She seems happy to meet him halfway, and he seems happy someone will work with him. Realize she's getting the partner who collaborates, while I got the one I created. Someone who was so beaten down by my refusal to compromise, he stopped trying. Watch him be happy with someone who understands relationships require flexibility. While I'm alone with my principles, that destroyed something good completely. Still believe in feminism, but understand now that compromise isn't the enemy. Patriarchy is real, but not everything that requires effort is oppression, actually. Sometimes compromise just means two people working together to both be happy. I weaponized feminist theory to avoid ever having to consider anyone but myself. Used patriarchy as excuse to make every disagreement about power, not partnership. Turned relationship into battleground where someone always had to lose instead of win together. Told myself I was fighting oppression, but really, I was destroying my own relationship. Now I'm alone, and he's happy with someone who actually knows how relationships work.